The galaxy had been at war for years. Humanity, along with countless alien species, had fought battles that stretched across entire star systems. But after countless lives lost and worlds reduced to ashes, the war was finally over. The major alien factions had signed a treaty, and peace settled over the galaxy like a fragile blanket, soothing the wounds of years of conflict. For Earth, it was a bittersweet victory. The planet, once the heart of a rebellious and defiant human race, now lay in ruins. Cities were rebuilt, and the people of Earth tried to pick up the pieces. While humanity had been victorious, it was clear that peace was far from guaranteed. The major alien factions, those that had fought against them, were still wary of humanity. The treaty was a truce, not an alliance, and everyone knew that it could shatter at any moment. In the midst of this uneasy peace, there was one thing that no one knew about. A secret. Deep beneath the surface of Earth, buried for centuries, an ancient artifact lay hidden, untouched by time and war. Dr. Lina Alvarez, a brilliant but reclusive scientist, had spent years studying alien relics. She was fascinated by the technology left behind by ancient races' technology that often seemed far beyond human understanding. And then, while conducting an excavation beneath a now-abandoned research facility, Lina stumbled upon something that changed everything. It started with the discovery an alien artifact. At first, it seemed like just another curious relic from the distant past. But as she dug deeper, she realized this wasn't just any artifact. It was a weapon. Not a simple blaster or shield, but something far more dangerous, something that could change the balance of power across the entire galaxy. The weapon was massive. Its design was beyond human comprehension, as though it had been made by a race whose technology was so advanced that it defied the laws of physics. The moment Dr. Alvarez uncovered it, she had found what could either save humanity or doom it forever. As she carefully examined the weapon, she realized its potential. This was not a tool for defense. It was an offensive weapon capable of wiping out entire fleets, or worse, entire planets. Whoever controlled this weapon would control the fate of the galaxy. But there was a catch: no one knew how to activate it. The technology was so old, so alien, that humanity had no frame of reference to understand how it worked. It had been left dormant for centuries, forgotten by every race in the galaxy. Dr. Alvarez faced an agonizing choice. Should she activate it? The temptation was undeniable. If the weapon worked, it would give Earth the power to defend itself from any future threats. No more would humanity be seen as weak, isolated, or defenseless. But the risk was enormous. If the weapon went wrong, it could destroy everything: Earth, the galaxy, and everyone in it. For years, Earth had been the underdog. It had fought valiantly to defend itself, but its victory had come at a cost. Now, with peace hanging by a thread, Dr. Alvarez saw this weapon as the last line of defense. The galaxy was full of powerful alien species, many of whom had only agreed to the peace treaty because they saw no immediate threat from Earth. But the galaxy was vast, and there were always those who sought power, those who would challenge the peace. Dr. Alvarez knew that peace could be fleeting. What would happen if the treaty broke down? What would happen if an alien race decided to take Earth out of the picture, just like they had tried to do before? Her mind raced with possibilities. The weapon had the power to wipe out entire fleets, to strike fear into the hearts of any enemy. But she also knew that such power came with a heavy price. Once activated, the weapon would be uncontrollable. It could bring peace, or it could trigger a new war, one far worse than the one that had already ravaged the galaxy. But what if peace wasn't as permanent as it seemed? What if the galaxy's most powerful alien factions, those who had only grudgingly accepted humanity's place in the galaxy, had their own plans for the future? What if humanity's enemies were biding their time, waiting for the right moment to strike? As Dr. Alvarez sat in the dimly lit underground lab, the weight of her decision pressed on her. She had a duty to protect Earth, but she also knew that the galaxy's future could hinge on the decision she was about to make. Activate the weapon and take control of humanity's destiny, or leave it dormant and pray that peace would hold. There was no going back once the weapon was activated. The galaxy had been peaceful for years, but that peace was fragile. As much as she wanted to believe in the future of the galaxy, the truth was simple. If humanity couldn't defend itself, all the peace in the world would mean nothing. Dr. Alvarez stood before the ancient alien device, the decision weighing heavily on her. The question was no longer just about what was best for Earth. It was about what was best for the entire galaxy. She had discovered a secret that no one else had. And now, she had to decide, should she risk everything and activate the weapon, or leave it hidden and hope that peace would last? The future of humanity and the galaxy was in her hands. Dr. Lina Alvarez had always believed that the key to saving humanity would lie in understanding the past. But she never expected her discovery to shatter the fragile peace the galaxy had fought so hard to build. The weapon she had uncovered beneath the Earth was no ordinary tool of war. It was ancient, its purpose shrouded in mystery, but its potential was undeniable. As she worked tirelessly to decipher the weapon's secrets, the news of her discovery spread faster than a wildfire. Across the galaxy, alien species that had once seen Earth as insignificant now feared humanity. To the Vorik, an aggressive and war-hungry alien race, the weapon posed an existential threat. The Vorik were not the only ones concerned, but they were the first to act. They believed that if they controlled the weapon, they would have the power to dominate not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. The Vorik's fear was not unwarranted. The weapon was far beyond anything humanity or any other race had ever seen. It could bend the very fabric of space and time. It could annihilate entire fleets and change the course of battles in the blink of an eye. No one understood its full potential, but everyone could sense the danger it represented. The Vorik knew that they could not allow humanity to gain control of it.ase. The Vorik's fleet approached Earth. Tensions across the galaxy reached a boiling point. The once united factions that had helped broker the peace treaty were now divided. Some saw the weapon as a threat to the balance of power, while others saw it as an opportunity to tip the scales in their favor. The galaxy's peaceful order was unraveling, and Earth was right at the center of it. Dr. Alvarez knew she was at the heart of a conflict that could reshape the galaxy. The weapon had already been activated. The alien technology, ancient and cryptic, was responding to her every move. She had no idea how to fully control it, but she couldn't stop now. The weapon was alive in a way she had never anticipated. Its energy was pulsing, growing stronger with each passing hour. The problem was, Earth's leaders were divided. While some urged Dr. Alvarez to continue her research, others, including members of Earth's government, feared the consequences. They feared that unlocking the full potential of the weapon could lead to catastrophe. The government sent warnings to Dr. Alvarez to cease her work immediately, but it was too late. The weapon had already been activated, and its power was building faster than anyone could comprehend. The Vorik were coming. Their massive fleet was on its way to Earth, and they were determined to take control of the weapon. They were ruthless, and they wouldn't stop until they had it in their grasp. Earth's defense forces were preparing for battle, but they were no match for the might of the Vorik. Dr. Alvarez faced an impossible choice. Should she shut down her research and hand over the weapon to the Vorik, risking humanity's survival in the process? Or should she continue her work, unleashing a power she wasn't sure she could control? She knew that if she gave in to the Vorik, humanity would be enslaved, its fate controlled by a race that had no interest in peace. The Vorik would never allow Earth to rise again, and the balance of power would be lost forever. But if she kept pushing forward, if she activated the weapon fully and tried to control it, there was no telling what could happen. The weapon's power could wipe out the Vorik in an instant, but it could also destroy Earth in the process. Dr. Alvarez was trapped between two choices, both of which carried devastating consequences. The pressure mounted with every passing hour. Earth's forces were preparing for a desperate battle, but they knew they were outmatched. Dr. Alvarez's weapon could be their only hope, but if she couldn't control it, it could just as easily be their undoing. The Vorik fleet was now within range. Their warships were massive, their weapons deadly, and their resolve unshakable. They didn't care about diplomacy or treaties, they only cared about one thing: controlling the weapon. Dr. Alvarez knew that if she didn't act fast, Earth would be lost. But she also knew that if she activated the weapon in haste, it might trigger a chain of events that would forever change the galaxy. As Earth's defense fleet readied themselves for the inevitable battle, Dr. Alvarez stared at the glowing interface of the weapon. She could feel its energy coursing through her, its power both terrifying and intoxicating. She had no time to waste. The decision was no longer about what was right or wrong. It was about survival. Earth had always fought for its place in the galaxy, but now, with the Vorik bearing down on them, the stakes had never been higher. Could humanity harness the power of this ancient weapon before it was too late? Or would the galaxy's fragile peace be shattered forever? The fate of Earth and the entire galaxy now rested on Dr. Alvarez's shoulders. The weight of the galaxy was pressing down on Dr. Lena Alvarez as she worked tirelessly to control the ancient weapon she had discovered beneath the Earth. With the Vorik fleet advancing, humanity's only hope lay in her ability to master this destructive force. But as the weapon's power grew, so did the chaos surrounding it. The once fragile peace that humanity had fought for was beginning to unravel. Dr. Alvarez had always believed that the weapon was humanity's last line of defense, something that could ensure Earth's survival against any external threat. However, the weapon's existence had begun to spark more than just fear in the galaxy. It had ignited a dangerous ambition. The news of her discovery spread like wildfire, and the Vorik were already moving to seize control. But that wasn't the worst of it. As Dr. Alvarez delved deeper into her research, she uncovered a horrifying truth. Some of Earth's own leaders were secretly working with the Vorik. These traitors, high-ranking officials in the Galactic Council, were not interested in peace. They saw the weapon as a means to gain ultimate power. If they could control it, they would not only defeat the Vorik but subjugate the entire galaxy under humanity's rule. The shock of this revelation hit Dr. Alvarez hard. She had trusted these leaders, these allies who had promised to help Earth rebuild after the war. But now, she realized that her discovery was not just a weapon for survival, it had become a tool for domination. Humanity had the power to reshape the galaxy, and some were willing to go to any lengths to make that a reality. The weapon, which was meant to protect Earth, was now the center of a dark, dangerous game of control. The lines between friend and enemy blurred as the factions within Earth's government began to fracture. Some leaders, once allies in the fight against the Vorik, now saw the weapon as a way to secure their own futures. They believed that if humanity controlled the weapon, they could eliminate the Vorik once and for all. Others, however, feared the weapon's potential for destruction and wanted to keep it hidden, away from any faction that might abuse it. As the factions divided, Dr. Alvarez realized the gravity of the situation. Not only was Earth on the brink of a war with the Vorik, but now it was also facing a civil conflict within its own ranks. There were those who wanted to keep the weapon's existence a secret, and there were those who believed that it should be used to bring about humanity's rise to power. Some believed they could control it, but Dr. Alvarez knew that this was not something anyone could control, especially not with the stakes this high. The tension within Earth's government reached a boiling point. Dr. Alvarez was forced to make a choice: expose the truth about the betrayal within the Galactic Council, risking a civil war on Earth, or continue to hide the weapon and pray that humanity could defeat the Vorik before it was too late. She couldn't trust anyone now, not even her own people. But the weight of the decision she faced was unbearable. If she exposed the truth, the resulting chaos could tear Earth apart. If she kept the secret, they would be left vulnerable to the Vorik, and the weapon's true potential would remain a ticking time bomb. The clock was ticking. The Vorik were closing in on Earth, their fleet growing larger with each passing day. The weapon was already activated, its power pulsing with a dangerous energy. Every move Dr. Alvarez made was a gamble. She could no longer see a clear path forward, only the sharp divide between those who would use the weapon for power and those who feared what it could become. As the conflict within Earth's government intensified, Dr. Alvarez knew that she had to act quickly. The longer she waited, the more likely it was that the weapon would be used for destructive purposes, both by the Vorik and by Earth's own leaders. In a secret meeting with a few trusted allies, Dr. Alvarez laid out the truth. The Vorik had made their move, but Earth's leaders were already divided on what to do with the weapon. Some wanted to use it as a tool to conquer the galaxy, while others feared its destruction. The weight of these decisions fell on her shoulders. If she exposed the truth, she would risk a civil war on Earth. But if she didn't, humanity could fall victim to the weapon's power, and the consequences could be catastrophic. Dr. Alvarez was caught between two worlds: the world she knew, where Earth had been a fragile ally in the galaxy, and the world that was emerging, where humanity's newfound power could either secure their place in the stars or destroy everything they had worked for. In the final moments, before she had to make her decision, Dr. Alvarez stared at the weapon, the ancient alien technology that could destroy or save them all. She thought about the future, about what kind of humanity would emerge if they controlled the galaxy's most dangerous weapon. Would they rise above the greed and ambition that had led the other alien races to ruin, or would they fall into the same trap of power and corruption? The stakes had never been higher, and the decision could either save humanity or destroy it. Dr. Alvarez had one chance to make the right choice, but she knew that whatever path she took, the consequences would be far-reaching. The war against the Vork was nothing compared to the war within humanity itself. The war against the Vork had reached a devastating climax. The once distant threat had now become a full-scale assault, and Earth was on the brink of annihilation. Dr. Lina Alvarez stood at the center of it all, her mind racing as she stared at the weapon that had the power to reshape the galaxy. It was no longer just a tool for defense, it was humanity's last hope. The weapon, an ancient and mysterious technology buried deep beneath the Earth, was now fully activated. Its power was immense, enough to obliterate the Vork and their massive fleet with a single strike. It could end the war, secure Earth's future, and restore some semblance of peace to the galaxy. But there was a problem. The weapon wasn't just a tool for destruction, it had been designed to wipe out entire star systems. If unleashed, it could vaporize not only the Vork but entire swaths of the galaxy, including Earth itself. The choice was unbearable. Dr. Alvarez had spent months studying the weapon, trying to unlock its secrets, and now she understood its true potential and its terrifying consequences. If she activated it, the war would end, but it could come at the cost of everything humanity had fought for. It wasn't just the Vork who would be destroyed. Entire civilizations could fall, and Earth could be wiped out in the process. Her mind raced with possibilities. What if there was another way? What if humanity could find a way to win without resorting to this weapon's devastating power? But the truth was, clear time was running out. The Vork were closing in, and their fleet was too powerful. Earth's forces had been stretched thin, and the galaxy's fragile peace had already begun to crumble. There was no time for negotiation, no time for diplomacy. Dr. Alvarez knew that if she didn't make a decision, the Vork would destroy everything humanity had built. Yet the weapon, with its godlike power, was too dangerous. She couldn't ignore the possibilities of what might happen if it fell into the wrong hands, or worse, what might happen if humanity used it without truly understanding its limits. As the final battle approached, Dr. Alvarez was torn. Every moment she waited felt like a weight on her chest. The galaxy was on the brink of total destruction. The Vork were relentless, and their forces were growing stronger. Earth's last line of defense, the weapon, was humanity's greatest asset, but it could also be its greatest curse. There was no turning back. She could feel the weight of the universe pressing down on her shoulders as the countdown to the final battle began. Dr. Alvarez had always believed that humanity could overcome any challenge. But now, she was faced with a decision that could change everything. Would humanity become the saviors of the galaxy, or would they fall into chaos, like the many alien empires that had come before them? The final decision had to be made. In the chaos of the final moments, Dr. Alvarez stood at the heart of the Earth Command Center. Her eyes scanned the battlefield, where the Vork fleet loomed ever closer. Her fingers hovered over the controls of the weapon. She could activate it now. The Vork would be destroyed. Earth would survive. But the weapon was a double-edged sword. It would not only obliterate the Vork, it could wipe out entire star systems. Whole worlds would be erased from existence in the blink of an eye. Was that the price humanity had to pay for peace? With a deep breath, Dr. Alvarez made her choice. She pressed the button. The weapon roared to life, a wave of unimaginable energy rippling across the galaxy. For a moment, it felt like time itself had frozen. The Earth trembled beneath her feet as the weapon's power surged through the cosmos. The Vorik fleet, massive and intimidating just moments ago, was reduced to nothingness in a single, catastrophic blast. But the victory came with a cost. The weapon had worked as intended, obliterating the Vorik and securing Earth's future. But the destruction didn't stop there. Planets, entire star systems, were caught in the wake of the blast. The weapon had done more than just stop the Vorik, it had nearly torn the galaxy apart. Dr. Alvarez stared at the devastation, her heart sinking. Earth was safe for now, but the galaxy would never be the same. Could humanity rebuild from this? Could they regain the trust of the alien races they had just destroyed? The peace they had fought for had been shattered. The weapon had given them victory, but at what cost? As the weapon's power began to fade, Dr. Alvarez realized the enormity of the choice she had just made. Humanity had survived, but the galaxy was forever altered. In that moment, she understood the price of victory. Would humanity rise as the galaxy's savior, or had they unleashed chaos they couldn't control? The weapon had been their salvation, but also their downfall. In the end, Dr. Alvarez knew that the true test had only just begun, rebuilding the galaxy after the final choice, and finding a way for humanity to prove that they were not like the empires of old, destroyed by their own hubris. The fate of the galaxy now lay in the hands of those who remained, if anything remained after the storm had passed. The weapon was a symbol of humanity's power, but also a warning. Sometimes the cost of survival is far greater than anyone could ever imagine.